Cross out the crime misdemeanor. But if it is a violation with a fine, then it's also a misdemeanor C. So I'm going to add to this, it shall be, and we go ahead and cross this out, a misdemeanor violation, but shall be punishable, with a refusal to issue or renew a dealer's license. So there will be no fine. Shall be punishable with a revocation or refusal of issue to or renew a dealer license. Then there will be no misdemeanor, no crime.
May I take some of your time?
Yes. I use my time.
If I could get clarification on fines as it pertains to the ordinance. If any violation is penalized by a fine, does that automatically equate to misdemeanor? If any violation of the ordinance has a penalty of a fine, does that automatically equate to misdemeanor? Because my knowledge is that if it's over a certain amount, then it's a misdemeanor status.
Actually, it creates an ambiguity because I would not be able to ascertain whether the intent was to create a civil penalty or a criminal penalty. If it states it's a misdemeanor, then it's automatically a Class C misdemeanor. But without stating what the fine is, then to me it would be ambiguous. Additionally, if I might speak on this amendment, it's inherently problematic that the option of a fine or a revocation is presented because they are two totally separate things.
Councilmember Wong, did you have any further?
No further.
Councilmember said the administration is comfortable with the ordinance as it stands, and we are going to vigorously oppose any further amendments to the ordinance. Because Councilmember Brown has chosen to offer her amendments one by one, if there's further discussion on this one, we will take a vote on this one, and then I'll go to further amendments to council members, and we'll just rotate back through Councilmember Brown's amendments. Is there any further discussion of Councilmember Brown's proposed amendment? Okay, I believe she did not accept any amendments from Councilmember Wong.
Again, I'm having a little bit of confusion here because information is conflicting that I'm receiving from various sources.
Councilmember, there's only one city attorney. You may choose to follow his advice or not.
Well, okay, so what can we do to avoid a misdemeanor charge on individuals who, through human error, fail in any way or quote-unquote violate this proposed ordinance? What can we do to avoid misdemeanor charges?
You can specify that it's a civil penalty.
So it would be a civil misdemeanor?
No, ma'am.
Civil
Misdemeanor
penalty.
is a criminal offense.
Okay.
You would specifically specify that it's a civil penalty, but it still has to be adjudicated, which is a distinguishable, is a separate process from the matter of revocation.
Okay. So we have to obviously withdraw my current motion, change it to shall be a violation punishable with a civil penalty.
Yes, ma'am, you can do that.
Okay.
That would also require a second, since you're offering a different motion.
I'll second.
And then you have to I'm sorry, Mayor, but the penalty would have to be specified. Right.
Okay, so civil penalty of currently it's 500, I believe, or something like that.
She received the end of Councilmember Wong's time, and Councilmember Adams, if you need to ask her if she will yield. She's on Councilmember Wong's.
Thank you. Can I, make a motion to, well, suspend the rules to invite Officer Harrison Rojas? I have a question for them. May I?
Yes, ma'am.
My precious
And
officers.
you're not required to spend the rules to hear from city staff, members, and Councilmember Preston.
So we know.
Officer Harris, I'm Officer Rick Rojas.
Okay, I just have a question. I was looking at Councilmember's, her amendment, and I just have a question. Versus the misdemeanor charges that's there, can we define that? Is it based on the value of the articles, or how are we clarifying this? And if you can clarify the amendment as well, please, sirs.
The intent with the, with his help actually, but with the intent of our amendment, we were actually making it easier on the businesses. Right now, the state law says it has to be a Class B misdemeanor. Our ordinance actually gives us the opportunity to make it a Class C, so we're making it easier. So we're not making it harder. So that's the way that was written in. There is nothing less than a Class C. I don't know of anything less than a Class C that you can do. So it's like writing a ticket.
Oh,
The state, I'm sorry, the way the state law writes out, they had to have taken them to jail if they violated it. But now with our city ordinance, if it passes, we wouldn't have.
So the way the current ordinance is, the way that you have drafted it before this body makes it easier. So when we follow state law, you would actually have to take them to jail if they violate, the way the ordinance is written.
That was our only option since last January 1st. And so now we're gonna give us a chance to write a ticket. At
Okay.
least first.
Now, will there be enforcement on that? Will a ticket stand just like a parking ticket? If they don't pay it, there's a warrant issue for their arrest. Would it be on that same caliber?
Correct, that's the way I understand Class C.
Is that correct, Mr. Bowman?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Mayor, for allowing me to address them.
Mayor Pro Tem Gonzalez.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to highlight something I think it's important for my colleagues to consider is that they've taken a great deal of time working with city legal, working on this ordinance for not ordinance, but these revisions for a very long time to clean up some of the language and bring in, there's been some confusion on the ordinance with some of the dealers, and so we're trying to bring this, some cleanup language, and also to match state law. And what's in House Bill 2490, which gives the authority for cities and requires them to report and to register with the Consumer Credit Commission of the state, which is already mandated by the state. So my concern is, this has been a long process. I'll remind everybody, we've been through 2 committee meetings on this. We've been through public session. And we have to be careful about not modifying something or putting in a revision that's contrary to what state law is requiring or the legislative intent of House Bill 2490, and then doing something that is contrary to that. So, is that accurate?
Absolutely. In fact, if I may put out my civic pride here, I think if it is passed by you, it will be one of the best in the nation. And definitely one of the first that addresses a lot of these issues. So as the 4th largest city in America and the biggest city in Texas, it'll be something that I think we can all be proud of that we have written this.
Thank you.
Councilmember Christie.
I can't vote for any amendment that is open-ended with the word fine. That could be $1, it could be $1 billion, so that has to be described.
Councilmember Pennington. Councilmember Bradford.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to follow up on what Dr. Christie just indicated, because I thought Councilmember Brown closed that loophole by indicating a Class C misdemeanor, which is punishable up to $500, or the judge could do community service. But there's a maximum fine of $500, and she specified Class C, I thought. And Commissioner, the Mayor, I'd like to ask Councilmember Brown to answer that question, please.
Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, and I kind of left it open because I wanted to hear from my colleagues, and I think since this my proposal as it stands now is violation punishable with a civil penalty, I'm going to add $150. Because there's countless incidences where you might have human error, you might have intent or whatever, it is a shall be fined. And so if we're going to make it a civil penalty, we're going to put a fee that's workable for the industry. So if they get...
I think a civil penalty, Class C,
up to $500 is kind of consistent with what the municipal courts do now as they apply as judges fines in the Class C arena. So your language, Councilman, with all due respect, would actually be very inconsistent with how municipal court process Class C misdemeanors. Today, you would cause more confusion.
I will take your advice on that and I will change it up to 500.
Okay, and speaking specifically to the proposed amendment that's before us, not the entire item, what was decided regarding the revocation point that City Attorney Feldman made? Because he's absolutely right on point about sticking in revocation as part of the amendment here. It really makes it not
It no
very
longer
appropriate.
stands part of the amendment. The only amendment on the table currently is crossing out misdemeanor and replacing it with violation punishable with a civil penalty up to $500, period.
Thank you, Cal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Lasker.
Mayor, if there's no one else in the queue, I'd like to call a question on this particular amendment.
There are some folks in the queue, but you may make a motion to call the question. Is there a second to the motion to call the question? Discussion, favoring, opposed, motion carries to call the question on this particular amendment. Moving to a vote, favoring, opposed, no.
Just for the amendment itself.
The amendment itself? Okay. There's a request for a roll call. I would rule that the motion failed, but
Have it on record, then, please.
ma'am.
Okay, Mayor Parker.
No.
Mayor Parker votes no. Councilmembers Brown.
Yes.
Brown votes yes. Davis.
No.
Davis votes no. Cohen.
No.
Cohen votes no. Adams.
No.
Adams votes no. Martin.
No.
Martin votes no. Wong.
Yes.
Wong votes yes. Pennington.
Yes.
Pennington votes yes. Gonzalez.
No.
Gonzalez votes no. Rodriguez is absent. Laster.
No.
Laster votes no. Green.
No.
Green votes no. Costello.
No.
Costello votes no. Burks.
No.
Burks votes no. Noriega is absent. Bradford.
Yes.
Bradford votes yes. And Christie.
Yes.
Did you say yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry. 5 votes. And 5 votes for, 2 votes no, the amendment fails. The floor is open for further discussion or further amendments. Mayor Pro Tem Gonzalez.
Mayor, there's no further amendments. I wanted to call the question.
There may be further amendments, but you may call the question. Is there a second to calling the question on the main item?
Second.
There is a second to call the question on the main item. Moving to a vote on calling the question on the main item. Sir?
I'm sorry, I thought that was a vote on the main motion. Was that a motion? Was that a vote on calling a question?
We called the question and then we voted on her amendment. Now the floor is open for further amendments or other discussion. Mayor Pro Tem Gonzalez is up, called the question on the main item. So there was a second to call the question on the main item. Take us out of this discussion clearly. There was a second to calling the question on the main item. Do you wish to debate calling the, actually you can't debate calling the question. It's a procedural motion. Sir.
Is there anyone in the queue with, excuse me, is there anyone in the queue with other amendments? Or is it
Yes.
Councilmember
Well,
Brown?
obviously, Councilmember Brown has issued a suite of proposed amendments.
Well, is
There
it,
may be others as well, but that would be debate on the item. The motion was to call the question so that we vote on the main item as presented. Moving to a vote on the question. Favor?
No.
Opposed?
No.
Could I have a show of hands of